The drunken dwarf staggered down the sidewalk in the middle of the city, and he's out of money. And he wants another drink, and he needs one bad. He's going to take advantage of the night. Not too many street lights around in this whole crappy neighborhood. He notices a backyard that he might be able to reach if he can make it without falling. He scampers through the backyards. He sees a lit up back patio. Just beyond that, large glass paneled doors that slid open. He notices a couple of guys in there in the living room, having a few drinks and relaxing. Thinks he might have the drop on him. He knows there's alcohol in there. He gets a little closer, puts his little hands on the fence, starts looking for a way in. The fence is tall chain link fence. He thinks he can make it over though. After all, he needs that liquid gold in there that he just desperately lives for. He climbs up the fence. In no time, his mind fixed on the booze that he sees sitting at the bar. Bottles of it lined up along the counter. Makes him climb even faster and faster. He reaches the top of the chain links, throws his little leg over it, begins to rappel down. When his shirt gets caught, he loses his balance, tries to yank it free, falls straight to the ground. He's crippled. To him, this was like a 20-foot fall. He's laying there trying to catch his breath when he hears that giant glass door sliding and some murmuring from that room. The owner of the house yells, "Get 'em, boys." The dogs, two giant Rottweilers, charge the little intruder. Before he can even get to his feet, the dogs are already ripping him to pieces. Like tug of war, one on each end, tearing him to shreds. He can barely make a sound. These little party goers, they knew they had just made a big mistake themselves. Because these dogs had just made a meal out of this little intruder. They immediately pull the dogs off of him, begin to panic, and they pick the dwarf up in their arms and run inside and then into the garage, arguing where to put this body, what to wrap it in or what to do with it. They knew not to call the police. They had warrants. They had to hide this body. They had a reusable keg, a mini keg in the garage they hardly used. They ran. They both knew exactly what to do with this keg now. Popped the lid on it and put the poor little guy in there. Put the lid on. They took a blowtorch, sealed it shut. They threw the little keg in the back of their trunk and decided to take a long drive out in the middle of nowhere The outskirts of town had a lot of industrial areas. Not much foot traffic out there, though. In the swamps behind it, they figured it would be a perfect place to throw this little mini keg. They found a beat-up road that led them straight to this little wetland. They pulled right up and backed up to the banks of the swamp, popped the trunk. And they had both heard something coming from the keg. Little dings, like he was punching the walls, trying to get out. They both looked at each other and knew they couldn't open it. Instead, they decided to heave it into the swamp. Didn't take much. He sank straight to the bottom. They jumped in their car and took off, speeding down that beat-up little dirt road and into the darkness. The keg sat at the bottom. One thing about the water, there was no life around. Nothing could live in this water. The wetlands had been contaminated by unknown runoff from these factories. Months go by. Things have begun to change inside this keg. An evolution of sort. And on one dark night, it unlodged itself from the bottom of the swamp and rose to the top of the water. Sat there for a moment, began to drift to the bankside, beginning to vibrate. Before you knew it, limbs shot out the sides like rockets, the skin pale like it had been eaten by acid, but still somehow remained on his bones. Both arms and legs stuck out this keg, began to mobilize, roll over to the hands and knees, and hop right up, and raised to the moonlight, looking at the sky. The partygoers having another night of rounds, chilling in their house. Unexpected, but they still had their Rottweilers on patrol. They noticed something was gazing at them from the street. The moonlight highlighting the keg, shining right off of it, but everything else kind of blended into the darkness. Staring at the house, the dogs began to growl real low and creep towards the fence. The partygoers still unsuspecting what could happen outside. Their door closed, TV up, they had no clue. The little intruder had returned, and he wasn't the same. The keg, arms and legs, began to walk forward and approach the fence, slowly and cool and calmly. He approached the fence. His little hand reached down between his legs, laid the spigot between his knees, still intact, and with one flip of the tab, released vicious spraying of acid that coated the entire fence and melted it within seconds. The dogs, stunned, but still knew they had to attack this predator, now going wild. Without hesitation, he unleashed another cloud of deadly acid mist on each dog, spraying them down, melting them to nothing but smoke within seconds, once again. Right about that time, one of the guys on the couch popped up and looked to his left and at those doors. Jumped up from his couch and ran over, brought the guys with him, running past the little mini bar next to him, clearly visible from where that little keg can see in the backyard. Now peering through the windows calmly, ready for those little party goers to run out there and try their hand at his new weapon. Viciously sliding the door open while they see their dogs smoking on the ground. He looks up again, sees nothing but acid spray coating his entire body, screams from everyone at the party as they all melted to the ground. The house now covered in smoking slop, the remainder of all that's left from the party. The keg slowly walked up to the bar, popped open a bottle of vodka, and punched a hole in the top of the keg. Slowly raising the bottle, he poured each bottle after bottle, into the top of his head, filling up his keg with more ammunition. The vodka sloshing around in his head. You can hear the walls echoing with vodka in the keg. He's now reloaded. He is mute and looking for alcohol. He slowly walks over to a mirror on the wall, staring at it. No eyes, only steel. He realizes he has changed into something. He just doesn't know what. Soon the entire city could fear him. He is the Lowlander.